The Omnic Weekly. Welcome everyone, it is Sunday, May 5th, and this is episode 175 of the Omnic Weekly. I am Dimsies AKD, and I have with me Frozen, looking all blue and shiny as always, the man from Florida, LP, the Gator Wrestler Supreme.
Bathing in sunlight.
Clearly, as you can see my background, I just want to say, guys, that I really appreciate being back. And I know I kind of jumped in like last minute, but thank you for accepting me. And I always love hearing the intro to the Omnic Weekly. It's just so familiar. It feels like home. Like it's like a warm baked apple pie.
Warm baked apple pie. Now I'm hungry. All right. But that's nice to have you, man. It's nice to have you. I think it is good to have you because there's a lot to discuss, and I want to kind of hear everybody's standpoints on all of this because it has been as you might have just heard with all the news, it has been a busy week, and a few things have not been sitting well with the community. I want to hear you guys' opinions on all of this. Let me first start out with something small. Of course, the Orisa and the Venture buff we got, a nerf rather, that we got earlier this week. There's always been this kind of idea that Orisa was super overpowered. At some point, Blizzard said, yeah, she's not that strong as everybody thinks. She's actually kind of on somewhere in the third or the fourth spot. Like Sigma and Reinhardt are statistically still doing better. But now they ended up nerfing her anyways. And I'm really wondering, do you guys think, was it like something... I've heard a lot of people yell about it, like Orisa's too strong and they need to be dealt with. But personally, I never felt like that. I don't know what you guys think.
Raise his hand. So I've actually been watching a lot of like Samito streams. I don't know why, but like Samito has recently become like my info source of like Overwatch, which is probably not the best. Well, in terms of like, like enjoyment, he's super like, all his titles are super like, they finally killed the game, or, it's just super clickbaity, but I love it. Yeah. So yeah, there's been a lot of, I guess, back and forth with the community about like how Orisa is just like the main staple tank hero. Like now tanks are getting such crazy buffs, and like, they're making the game unfun to play, and how 5v5 is just not the way to go. But, I will say though that I feel as someone who enjoys the tank role, that I feel like tanks are still some of the most just viable characters in the game, right? Like despite like whatever you do or you touch the tanks will just affect the rest of the game more so than before when you had two tanks.
That is true. Yeah, that is definitely an effect of the 5 versus 5. Is that since you only have one tank, as soon as you change it, yeah, you'll feel it. I mean, that is it makes it a little more impactful to change this. That is definitely true. Yeah, it's kind of nice that you raised that example because there is a part of the community, and especially around the content creators, that are very outspoken when it comes to the whole 5 versus 5 and 6 versus 6 discussion, but also like here's like Orisa. Well, I do think I can understand on the higher levels. I think we've seen the same in the Overwatch Champions series, right? There's been a lot more Orisa than there usually was in the last stage. But when it comes to the medal ranks, the medal levels, I really feel like it was sometimes really as simple as just switching to another tank or to Zarya or to kind of, I don't know, even sometimes I would just kind of beat an Orisa with Reinhardt and just by being smarter or better. I don't know. I think that might be the issue, that on the high ranks, everybody is at such a top level that it really comes down to the pure capacity of the hero.
Yeah, and now more than ever before, it's like you're in if you get one slight tweak to one tank, like that is the meta tank for some reason now,
I don't know, I never really had issues against Orisa. Like I liked playing her. Like recently I've been like diving into other tanks and trying them out. Like I've been really enjoying Junker Queen.
Oh wow.
And I didn't think I would ever say that, but I've been really enjoying playing her.
Why didn't you think you would say that?
I don't know. But I don't know, with Orisa, like I play her a lot. I like her. She's not the strongest one. I just like to play her because I think she's fun. And when I play support or DPS, I never really had any like big issues against her.
No,
like
no.
I had some
yeah.
insane plays, but that's like the same as I had on other tanks. Like sometimes things just align and you have a good play with a hero. And I don't know. I don't see why they would nerf her, but that's maybe perception related rather than she definitely needed a nerf related.
Yeah, I do think that is a part of the whole thing is always the perception, and the perception gets skewed due to the fact that in Overwatch, a lot of the big content creators are all high level players. There's very few people that play on the medal ranks that are big voices within the community, and that sometimes creates this huge echo chamber of everybody repeating. And I noticed that really hard in my own comments. I've told this story before, but I can actually pin comments. If I would make a chart of every single comment under a video of mine, I could trace back to who they watched before me. And if the statistics would allow me to, I probably could prove it too. But there's no way of me proving where anybody comes from. But I do think you create these. I don't know. Probably they saw a bit of a rise or an uptick in Orissa's effectiveness. I only picked Orissa when I was pissed off and I wanted to be in people's face. That was my thing. Not necessarily like I felt like it is that Bastion kind of type switch where people switch to Bastion because they think they're going to lose. For me, it was more like, oh, is this how you're going to play it? All right, let me get Orissa and be really in your face and make sure that you know what the smell of my javelin is, which is a weird thing to say, but just as I said it out loud. But it was not intended in that way.
What does it smell like? It's javelin in the face.
Yeah. But I never felt like that was going to guarantee me to win. That was just give me that kind of little, I don't know, moment of, hey, I'm kind of telling them that I'm there, showing them that I'm there. But yeah, I mean, look, we definitely saw a drop of Orisa tanks once that nerf hit. The same with Venture. I've not seen that many Venture players in my groups anymore. The ones that do play Venture are still rather effective, to be honest. But I think that's just what you want with Venture. Venture, in my opinion, is a hero like Genji and Doomfist, where you need a certain skill level to make them work. And I think that is fine. I think that is perfect. I think that is exactly where Venture needs to be.
I mean, it shouldn't be that you can just pick them up and just destroy everyone on every level. Yeah, exactly. There are heroes that are more beginner friendly, but you shouldn't have a hero with a very, very high skill ceiling be too strong.
Yeah, you don't want to make it too accessible to people that, that don't have the mechanical skill set or whatever, or it's kind of the understanding. It's practice, right? It's making these combos work. It's all about practice. And I kind of like that. It's the same with Genji and Doomfist. I can get really frustrated with a Doomfist tank, but if they're really good at what they play, I can respect it. I can respect that they are kicking my ass because they earned it. They play that hero so much that they really kind of made it work. But LP kind of hinted at it already, the mid-season patch, these huge tank buffs that are coming. There's been a lot of complaints. I was watching one of Flat's videos recently, and he was kind of doing a review of Season 10. And it was just, I really felt, with all due respect, that he was kind of shoving everything aside just to kind of put the tank issue, which I agree with to a certain extent, in the middle and point like this whole season was just about, tanks still suck. Which I can understand, of course. It is his thing. It's his jam. Now, once this patch or the announcement for this patch hit, you saw this kind of a divide within the community. There were the tank players that were really happy with what they saw, and then there was a huge deal of people that got really upset, and it felt like, okay, it's going to be the tanks that dominate everything. Then there were Samito and his friends going in like, this is not going to work because it's not 6 versus 6. It really kind of became this thing where everybody was standing. Well, how do you put that on the stockades, yelling at each other? But I don't know. Like, what was your first reaction when you saw all of that? Like, your gut reaction when you saw the list of all the items that you were like?
Honestly, I was at work when I saw like the tweets and everything, and I scrolled a bit through it, and I was like, and then I just went on my day.
Nothing spectacular.
I just saw it and it reminded me so much of the discourse when they announced the support passive for DPS and tank, and I was just like, come on, not again. Like, we've been through this. Why do it again? Like, the exact same thing, too. Like, everyone was just so outraged. Oh my god, supports are gonna be useless, blah, 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 blah. And now it's kind of exactly the same. Oh my god, they're so strong. They can out-heal certain supports. Me.
That is exactly. I love that you bring that up, because have you heard anybody after season 9 started? Have you heard anybody complain about that passive?
No.
Nobody. Like, because it made sense. It doesn't happen while you're in combat. While you're in combat, there's jack shit that happens. It's the moment you get out of combat. It's basically when you're back in the bleachers, back in the whatever you do after your game and whatever sport you play, and you wind down. Then things start happening and you get your health back up. But nothing too impactful. Uppy, what was your reaction?
Was Hog. Just
Hog?
Hog.
Yeah.
I kept thinking about how he's going to be such a huge pick, and like it'll be hard to kill him because he's just going to have so much survivability. Mm-hmm. And here goes getting a lot of pick rate, especially the high, a lot of tiers, but she's just like almost 100% pick rate hero. And how like anti-nade might not even be his weakness anymore, and just Hog is like getting debuffed now, or like getting buffed. It's just like, holy moly, this is going to be a crazy hero. Imagine just being like the 1v1 Hog versus, I don't know, like a Ana, and then just Hog being like the final boss, like you're playing Dark Souls, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Trying to jump away from the hook.
Maybe they should give her that double jump, even if it looks silly at that point. I do think there's certain tanks that will need a little adjustment afterwards, but I think that kind of shows where the team is at with like their mindset and their design choices. I feel like they're really bold lately. Like, they are willing to take risks. What they did in season 9 was insane. What they're doing right now in the mid-season patch is not as big, but still, it is quite cheeky. It's kind of it shows that they have cojones. They're willing to do something, and then kind of that is their new tactic. I think we're going to throw something at it, something big, something huge. We're going to push hard, and then roll it back if it is too potent, if it is too strong, and look at individual players, heroes, and see how they need tuning. But in the first instance, everybody's going to benefit, and those first few weeks are going to be insane. And I think indeed Hog is going to be one of the tanks that is going to take a huge jump forward. But then when season 11 comes in, they probably tune him back and kind of make him kind of fold in. And for me personally, I think that is actually what you want for a game like Overwatch. Because in that whole discussion of, the duo tanks and the whole thing, like, it all kind of references to a time. If we would bring the whole game back to that timestamp, or that kind of, how do you put it, like that little state of the game as it was all those years ago, I think we would get bored, personally, I think. Because you need to have that change, you need to have that variation, you need to have that evolution of the concept. Otherwise, it just becomes a stale game.
Yeah. You get the Maga v Maga mirror matches, like, I think something. So I was actually reading the subreddits a couple days back, and there was just people going like, okay, so if Larissa's strong, she's gonna get nerfed, right? Like, eventually she'll get nerfed, and then once Larissa's dead, that just makes Hog stronger, and when Hog is strong, that will make eventually he'll get nerfed, right? This is kind of where we're at right now. He's gonna get nerfed, and then once Hog gets nerfed, all Hog players start playing Maga instead, and then you get the Maga v Maga mirror matchups.
It is the natural evolution of Overwatch. Yeah.
I mean, if your hero gets nerfed and another one is more viable, I mean, a lot of people are very stoic, especially Doomfist players, but other people will just switch to another hero. But I think could be fun. Also, looking at the Orisa nerfs, they might have nerfed her because they knew she was probably going to get too strong with the buffs coming.
Mm-hmm.
in season 11. Might be also a bit too early, but it's very interesting if they would just not change anything anymore and just like throw that shit in there and see what happens.
Oh my god.
Because I think that's kind of the mindset of the team right now. They're just gonna throw that in there and see what happens. And it's fun. Like it's kind of fun. Like can also be a bit disrupting, but I don't know. I just think it's interesting and fun and new. And new is good.
Yeah. And I mean, otherwise, I think what LP just described, that whole cycle that you get where one hero kind of steps over the other and you get this sort of rotation that just this almost inevitable circle of life of Overwatch heroes or tanks. I think the way to disrupt that and to break that is by doing bold moves and doing something big. If you look at the way it worked for DPS with the projectile size and the whole health buffs and everything that they did, it kind of upset a lot of things in one way, but on the other way, it settled. It's almost like you threw everything up in the sky, you kind of took a plate, you threw it up, and then it all kind of settled down on the floor, almost in a beautiful pattern that makes sense for the first time in a really long time. So I do think this is the way to break that cycle and to kind of have although I do think eventually we'll end up in that same situation again. I think that is kind of inevitable, that it will happen again. But I'm really curious to see. Now, I do think, for one, I never did a poll this week where I asked my followers especially on Instagram, like, what is your opinion on all of this? And one of the options I gave people is, I'm just going to wait and see. And to my surprise, actually, and I'm quite proud, I saw more and more people kind of voting on that option and going like, you know what, we're just going to wait and see. And I think if they keep this up, if they keep throwing shit at us in this kind of way where they just do something really crazy and then tune it back and zero it in and make it work, I think over time people will kind of accept it. And hopefully we'll see less of these knee-jerk kind of panicky, because at the rate that people were tweeting in the last few days, I feel like, you know what? It seems that the Overwatch community has some of the biggest experts running around when it comes to hero balancing. They all have these really, they make these tweet threads that last for 6 or 8 tweets where they outline their opinion on the things that are happening, transpiring, without even having touched those heroes and played them. It's beautiful.
I think it's probably just a matter of getting the people used to it, because it was kind of bound to happen that if they started doing like just throwing shit in there and like these big changes and just see what happens, it was bound for people like, oh my god, just kind of like, I don't know, throw everything in the air, start running, everything's on fire, everyone's screaming. Because that's kind of what happened like this time and last time. But if the people get used to it, it's gonna get better. But probably in certain bubbles, because a lot of people are still wanting to like farm on that. Like, oh my god, the game's gonna die, the ports are gonna be shit. Like those, because people still want to watch that. People want the chaos.
They want the drama, yeah. Of course, yeah. Like the whole idea of Overwatch is dead, or people asking, do people still play Overwatch? That still is a thing. I mean, I still get on a daily basis, I get people commenting on my videos about Team Fortress 2. I'm not even kidding. I'm like, how is that? Are these the same little group of people, or is that community still so big that I get so many comments? Like everything I post about Overwatch gets at least one comment about the fact that Team Fortress did it better, which is funny.
Does TF2 still have players?
Yeah, they definitely have a hardcore community. We don't want to insult anybody, but they are very, how do I put this? Very dedicated to the game. Like they'll if you spread a sandwich with 3 tomatoes, a bit of cheese, and some salad, they will pop up and tell you that TF2 did a better sandwich than you did. That is what they'll do. That is how they roll.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, exactly. Exactly, that's the way they roll. No, what I do think when you were talking, something I realized, look, if you are Team 4 and you're doing these balancing changes and they do these small changes and everybody is yelling at them and everybody is upset, and then as soon as they release these updates, nothing is being said. Nobody cares anymore. Everybody's just kind of glancing over it, and nobody felt like it kind of put the whole game on fire. if you're going to be catching shit, the proverbial shit for everything you do, I think you just get to this place where you're like, if we're going to be yelled at, let's do something crazy. We're going to get yelled at no matter what we do. Let's just go something outlandish, something big. They're going to be upset with us anyways. And probably that is going to be the solution. I think that is actually what is happening. They're paying the same price, better results.
It's probably not the worst mindset, though. I mean, they've been getting yelled at for so many times since Overwatch 2 launched.
Well, even in Overwatch 1, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like they've been getting yelled at for years, and they're finally channeling that build-up frustration into, I don't care what you tell me, I'm just gonna throw the shit in and see what happens.
I think that is indeed the way forward. I like it. It's ballsy. All right. Now, what I do think, like with these changes, which I appreciate a lot, is the fact that they really kind of put the players first in every of these decisions. You can tell that has been a huge shift, something that we've seen, and I think that has been one of the bigger issues in the game industry right now. With a lot of these games and a lot of these companies, have kind of the wrong priorities. And I think the Overwatch team has slowly shifted to an idea of, you know what, let's put the gamers first, like the players first, and make sure that they are happy and that we kind of built the game around them. And that's that shift that we've seen in Aaron's director's blogs. And he always ends with, let's build a great game. He really means it. But to move on, we also got some changes. You were talking about the Junker Queen earlier. The Junker Queen and Wrecking Ball are getting some extra buffs on top of the ones that they already got throughout all the other stuff. You want to know the details about all of the buffs and debuffs and the whatnots of the mid-season or the mid-season patch? Go check out the posts we did on the Instagram and Twitter. You can see all of the numbers. But the Junker Queen and Wrecking Ball, and especially Wrecking Ball, is getting some serious buffs, which is weird, and it's not. He got buffed in the latest update, but I personally feel, and I know, LP, you've been playing a little more Wrecking Ball lately than any other tank, if I'm not mistaken.
Diva. Actually, I was going to mention how she hasn't really been touched much as a character. Very minor things here and there, but...
Yeah, I think Diva is kind of in a good spot. She has her little, I'm not going to call it a niche even. She has these situations in which she really shines. Not only kind of to counter Winston or anything, but she has her moments, and I think she's in she has her own, like Sigma is kind of the same. Yeah, Sigma is in the same kind of boat. They do what they do, and they do it pretty good. But Wrecking Ball, he got a buff after the latest update, and it was actually more of a small rework, and I didn't notice any difference in the amount of Wrecking Ball tanks I saw in my games. It was just 1 out of 4 or 5 games, you would see someone pick him up, especially if the timer was running out and they needed to rush point. But I didn't see that huge kind of shift that we've seen with Sombra, for instance. When Sombra was reworked, basically everybody was playing Sombra. When Roadhog was reworked, for the first few days, everybody was playing Roadhog. And with Wrecking Ball, it didn't happen. So I do think he was kind of still underperforming, and that's why he's getting a lot of buffs. Like, those numbers are kind of crazy.
I mean, I don't know if you can call it underperforming, but things I have with Ball, like, I don't think I'd ever touch him. But it's because like he's, I think, the highest mobility tank, and you have to have like a very specific playstyle to be like have him be viable. And I mean, the like rework probably helped a bit, but it felt like it was more of a way to help people who already played Ball to like have like a smoother experience and a smoother feel.
Yeah.
And it didn't really feel like it achieved what they wanted. Like that more people were encouraged to pick him up and start trying to play him, because he's still, I think, one of the most difficult tanks to play.
Yeah, your mouse sensitivity on him needs to be on point, because he'll zap past your camera really fast. It's kind of difficult to keep track of him when you're playing him.
Yeah. Can I just say though that like Ball is so much easier and funner to play on like controller?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Anyone else?
I get that, honestly. Like, I have never played him on controller, but I can see why it would be easier.
Yeah, I think a lot of the systems that kind of tied into playing with a controller actually compensate for what the difficulties are of playing Wrecking Ball on mouse and keyboard, because you need to, on mouse and keyboard, you need to keep track of the camera really fast, and you're kind of zapping around, and then you need to make sure that you're looking in the right direction. There's a lot of things you need to keep in mind. And I think that is also why you see certain specific players being really good at Wrecking Ball. People that are a little high energy, they're really mechanically really skilled, will definitely do better on him than anybody else.
I don't know. I saw someone like compare Ball once to like the new Spider-Man games, like the mechanic where you can like swing across the things, because like that was like the way they did that. They was specifically for controller. They designed it to be like playable and nice feeling on controller. And a lot of people said like playing Ball on controller and playing that Spider-Man game with that mechanic kind of feels similar sometimes.
I can imagine. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah.
But
I also say like a kid, you ever played Monkey Ball? Like the monkey that's inside the like hamster ball or hamster wheel?
Like the old
No.
Monkey Ball game?
The old
Yeah,
Monkey
definitely.
Ball game. Like
Yeah.
that's a controller game, and I feel like they took a lot of inspiration from like the physics of Monkey Ball into like Wrecking Ball, for example.
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that either. Yeah. I haven't tried it myself though, like the whole grappling where you can pull yourself to the grappling point. I've seen some people use it to the extent where they basically yeet themselves off the map, well, close to at least. But we'll see. Now, I think Frozen has a good point. I think the previous change was more kind of directed at people that already played Ball to make it, more of a comfort of life change, to make the flow feel a little better. And now the numbers are following that will help those players first off to really make a difference, but also maybe convince some other players that are kind of on the fence of jumping over and giving them a try to do it, because that is usually the big motivator. People want to win games. They want to dominate. I mean, that is never going to change. The Junker Queen changes are really interesting too. I'm looking forward. I mean, I miss playing the Junker Queen. I try to play her once in a while, but I feel like it doesn't always work. And mainly because I feel like she is kind of underwhelming right now. And I think with the mid-season balancing patch, she might hit that spot again where we get some use out of the Junker Queen, and I'm looking forward to that.
I just feel like I need to pick up more new players, more new like heroes, because like every time I pick up a new hero, that hero after some time suddenly gets buffed.
Oh yeah, it's you.
It's happened so many times now when I've like picked up a new hero, but like a few weeks later it's been like, oh, we're buffing that hero, and I'm like, great, I just picked them up, I can't wait.
Oh my god, you're so right, Frozen. I didn't even think about that, but when I started playing Overwatch 2, or picked it up for first time again, I was starting with Hog, and then I moved over to Orisa. And then from Orisa I moved over to like Sigma for a bit, and then over to Diva. I have not done so many hero hops. It's like
Right?
a short span.
Guys, it's you. Basically, Team 4, the designers are watching you two play, and they're watching your accounts, and guys, Frozen just picked the Junker Queen. Yeah, wait, I have some
Nerf
ideas.
Junker Queen.
Didn't like Aaron once said that like jokingly that he suspend our accounts after we told him we found a bug.
I don't remember that. But
He's been watching me since then.
that would be. I mean, who knows? Who knows? We need to try that. We need to put that to the test. So the next tank that you're going to start playing is Doomfist, and see if they buff Doomfist.
Oh God, no! I think some people are going to be very happy about that. Would be very happy about that, but I don't think I'd ever like seriously play him. I played him a few times in the Mirror Watch because
I really thought you were going to say I played him once in the mirror and I was just so confused till the word watch followed. I forgot about Mirror Watch for a second there. Although I've been playing it a lot.
I played him a few times in Mirror Watch.
Yeah.
Because he's quite good there, but I don't think it's just not my playstyle, not my kit.
No, I have a list of heroes that I need to get into. Like I'm kind of working a little bit on my Widowmaker now because I have this reward on my stream where people can pay to kind of or use their not paid, where they use the Twitch currency, which is coinsies in my case, where they can use that to pick me a hero, and they always pick Widowmaker.
Because we know
boy.
you can play it.
because I hate playing Widowmaker, so I want to get better at playing Widowmaker, so that doesn't become that much of an issue anymore. Yeah, but I do play a lot of heroes, but there are a few, and Doomfist is also on that list of heroes I definitely need to get into. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Queen in action after. I'm actually going to I'm not going to try the Wrecking Ball changes, but the Queen changes definitely. I enjoyed playing the Junker Queen when she came out. That was like such a fun experience. It really kind of worked for me because I used to play a lot of Affliction Warlock in World of Warcraft, and I love doing these dots and bleeds on people. Kind of managing that. Like I'm that Junker Queen that is just stabbing everything. Like, do you know that character from Futurama, that robot that is always stabbing with his knife? No, that's Bender, but he had the one with the what is the blockhead like, and he always had that high pitched voice. He was always stabbing everybody with the shiv, like he.
I don't know the name, but I know who you're talking about.
I know the reference. I think yeah.
Well, that's me. That's me when I'm playing the Junker Queen. I'm just stabbing everything that I see. Chair, an opposing player, but it could be the payload, whatever. I need to put bleeds on everything.
Yeah.
That's
she has some
roll.
really good passive kits if you think about it. Like that hero's like passives are really like awesome.
Once you get things rolling, she is strong.
I just pull supports and DPS like to me and then just axe them like, come to me.
I have this one. I think I actually recorded that one because I was doing some recordings for a video about the tanks this week, and I played some games with Will and with Frozen. And I was playing the Junker Queen, and at some point I threw my knife at the Zenyatta that was, I think it was in Toronto, jumping down from, that last corner, there's like, they're on a really high ground, and he was jumping down, and I knifed him as he was in midair and pulled him towards me, and you could just see, because I was kind of startled that I hit him, I'm going to be honest, I was quite surprised, but you could see the Zenyatta going, what the hell was that? He was looking around like, what the frick am I? He did not understand what happened to him.
The panic?
The panic, yeah, there was the sheer panic. He was just like, hey, let me jump down and help out. And suddenly he was standing in front of me, and I was swinging my axe at him. But that was funny. That is one of the glorious moments, just knifing someone, pulling them towards you, and then slashing them as they approach you.
So satisfying. It's like when they die too, or when you just slash with your axe into a group and then like a few of them just die because of that, because they were already low. So satisfying. Yeah.
It's a really fun hero. A really good design. Just the numbers needed a little tweaking. All right, talking about numbers, some other heroes that are also in the mid-season patch are going to get small buffs. Jesus, again, the whole of social media was on fire, but here we go. Junkrat, Hanzo, and Echo are getting some small bumps. Junkrat is always, as soon as Junkrat gets buffs, everybody gets upset. Hanzo is somewhere in the middle, and I feel Echo, people are a little more tolerant when it comes to Echo.
We have different Twitter bubbles then.
Yeah?
Hanzo, everything's on fire.
For me, it was more on, I saw a lot more comments on Junkrat and why are they going to bring back the one shot, blah, blah, blah. And I, to be honest, like I see a lot of content creators that play a lot of Hanzo complaining constantly that he's underwhelming, and that is playing into those little echo chambers again. I don't know. I don't play that much Hanzo. I do play quite a lot of Echo lately, and for me, Echo was working, and that's probably why they are all getting small buffs with Hanzo for the few times that I played him. Not that I didn't feel like it was a Hanzo issue. Like if I didn't perform on Hanzo, it was a me issue. It was me. My aim was off, and I needed to aim a little better and whatnot. And Junkrat is one of those DPS heroes where I switch to when I really feel like where other people will go to Bastion, I'll go to Junkrat. I'm like, that is my disruption hero. Like if I want to kick someone's ass, if I really feel like they're getting on my nerves, I'll pull out Junkrat and just, it's going to be mayhem till the last split second of that match.
I don't know, like I only picked up Junkrats when I had like mystery heroes and never really consciously picked up Junkrat, but every time I kind of was forced to play him, I had fun. It was fine. I got kills even though I didn't play him a lot. Like if you know your way around physics a bit, you can get kills without like really practicing with him. So I don't really see the need for a buff in particular, but I'll wait and see what it does.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I mean,
We'll
we
see.
had
We don't even know what the buff is going to be.
we
Maybe
had
they'll give him a
small
bigger shoe size. I don't know.
we had small buffs for other heroes, and we didn't really like
Notice.
feel
Yeah.
the difference. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Junkrat is one of those heroes where physics really matter, and you can do some fun stuff with those physics. You can throw those bombs in really nice corners and kind of make them bounce off walls, and I love that about Junkrat. He's mayhem. But,
good.
He used to be such a tank buster too. Like that was his.
Yeah.
It's so funny because the thing is, Junkrat as a character is just mayhem and chaos. But I like the people who play him really well. They just have the biggest brains, like calculating like angles, like where they need to shoot for things to land. They have like the biggest brains.
Yeah, it's really like that Sigma. They need the Sigma emote where they start calculating. But yeah, I think it's more of a gut feeling in this case. Now, look, of course, you have the people that are kind of weird about Hanzo, Junkrat, or Echo getting buffed. And there's another group, the Mercy players, that are really upset with Blizzard right now. I've seen a lot of people commenting on that because they feel like Mercy is in a really bad spot, which of course triggers a lot of other people to kind of counter that and go like, I saw someone going, yeah, Mercy is a niche hero, very like for certain situations, which I think is pushing it a little on the other end. But yeah, of course, I think the Mercy community are very dedicated to their hero. Like you said that earlier with Doomfist players, they will die on that hill. Like if they play Doomfist and they love playing Doomfist, they will rather lose the match than switch to any other hero. And I feel like Mercy players are kind of similar. I think they switch off easier, but they're very dedicated to making their hero the best it can be, and they'll put pressure. And that's why you get these kind of terms flying around like the Mercy Mafia, of course, because yeah, they are quite vocal and they are big ambassadors of their preferred hero, let me put it that way. LP, do you play a lot of Mercy? And then you play a lot of tank lately, but like when you play support?
I used to play a lot of Mercy back in the day, like when I first started playing Overwatch, like Overwatch 1. And I will say that Mercy is such a well-designed hero, like love her. And I think for the Mercy archetype, she really appeals to the crowd that would play Overwatch. Mm-hmm. So I think that the audience that does play Mercy is upset, obviously, at the current state, because like this game is like literally meant for like the appeal of the game is perfect like for Mercy players.
Yeah,
you know, it's like the best entry hero into the game, right? As you analyze what's happening in the battlefield, and you know, to be a longtime Mercy player and seeing how many changes have gone through and your hero getting nerf buffed, all these, like, yeah, of course you would be upset. I could totally get the sentiment that these Mercy players are feeling right now.
Yeah. What about you first? I know you play Mercy like semi-regularly.
Yeah, I think by now she even overtook Moira as my second most played hero.
There we go.
I mean, I'm still animated at heart. Like, I've been enjoying playing her. But she's more of a hero that I pick up when I'm like, I want a few chill sessions. I don't want to worry about my aim. I don't want to worry about like, hey, I need to hit the people to heal them. It's like, I want to be able to turn my brain off, enjoy the game for a bit, and just like fly like after people. That's like kind of my sentiment regarding Mercy.
Are you just saying that all Mercy players switch off their brain while they're playing? We're going to get
no,
so
I'm
much
saying
trouble.
I switch off my brain while playing Mercy.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify that because
I switch off my brain, like, me specifically.
Thank you.
But like she's kind of the character like I tend to, and I'm like, hey, my aim is not great today. I just want to enjoy this, and because she's very much about movement, and I don't know, honestly, through playing her, I feel like my Ana gameplay got better because I'm just better at moving away from shots and like just evading shots. At some point, it's weird, but I don't know. She's very different from all the other supports. That's maybe it. Yeah. Because she's like very standalone-ish. She's very like either you click with her or you don't. I haven't seen anything else.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that don't play her because for me it doesn't click. But I do think LP had a really good point. Like,
yeah, definitely.
When you look at all the first-person shooters, the target audience for Overwatch is indeed those people that are kind of that are very open to the mechanics like they are used by Mercy and some other heroes. I mean, there are a few other heroes that kind of, and they can be very different. But yeah, that is a very good point. I think she is one of those staple kind of, I'm not going to say poster child heroes, but maybe, but ones that kind of connect with the audience. Yeah.
I don't know.
100%. I think she's like 100% such a poster. Like there's, I think Reinhardt, Mercy, like Tracer, yeah. Like Soldier 76. Like those are like when I think of Overwatch, like those four heroes are just.
It's kind of like the feel of Overwatch. Maybe they're like other characters who can remind you of other games, or like, hey, this mechanic is like it still feels Overwatch, but it can remind you of something else. But there's like this few heroes that are so Overwatch to the core that you can't like imagine Overwatch without them. And it's kind of like from those base set of heroes that were like first there when like Overwatch was launched.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, so they've been there so long you can't think of Overwatch without them.
No, yeah,
and
definitely.
They have been the heroes that appeal to the like a lot of people to like come try the game, come play the game. Like I know, like I didn't have a PC back then when I first like I saw Ana come out. I was like really like I want to get a PC to play this game.
Damn.
And
can't even remember when that was. Ana was the first hero to be released after the official release.
After post-launch.
Like I watched I actively watched YouTube videos on Overwatch because it didn't have a PC yet. And like I watched them on my little phone and everything.
It is kind of crazy. Yeah, if you think about it, like we've been playing this game for so long, and they at some point they introduced these new heroes and they have these new mechanics, and we've gotten to the point, if you've been playing Overwatch for a long time, where you're like, all right, interesting, all right, but think about it. Like back in the day when Frozen did not have a PC, she heard about this old lady that was a sniper healer. Like if you would have told me that like 10 years ago that I would ever play a game where there's a sniper healer, I would be like, how does that work? And now it's such a normal thing. And the same with Mercy, actually, with a lot of the heroes, like Reaper also has these weird things that we don't even think about anymore.
I don't know, with like these move kits, like a lot of people like, how would that work? Isn't that boring to play? Blah, 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 blah. And like Overwatch just did it, and it fits so well. It has this kind of a dynamic, this Overwatch dynamic. I mean, it just fits also with like the pace of the game and everything. But it is so uniquely Overwatch that I couldn't see a game without Mercy in it. Like the same way I couldn't see the game without Reinhardt, like LP said, or Soldier in it, because they're so like enclosed in that game. And they were like the first to like kind of break the shooter stereotypes or like the mechanics and try new stuff, because it's what Overwatch was always about. Try new mechanics, try new stuff, like break the borders of what we knew shooters could be or can be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we sometimes underappreciate that. That is, I like now come to think of it. And if you look at the heroes that were released in the last few seasons, like Venture, Iari, Moga to a certain extent too, they fit in so fast and so easily. I found with Venture and Iari, that was almost to the point where I was extremely surprised. I think Life Fever and Moga needed a little more kind of help to get to that spot. So they haven't lost it. It's still there. It's still in the DNA of the Overwatch team. So, but yeah, we'll see what they come up with for the Mercy mains. I mean, I've seen a lot of uproar, a lot of people yelling, kind of raising the flags, and kind of the tar and feathers are being readied. But that is going to address eventually. I think right now the focus is going to be on the tanks and making sure those feel looked at, because let's be honest, the tanks have been struggling for a long time. I remember making a video about supports kind of being in a tough spot just around the launch of Overwatch 2. That changed in the seasons that followed to a point where people started complaining that supports were too strong. And that has now kind of fallen back a little bit. And now I think it's a matter of looking at the nitty-gritty and looking at every single hero and seeing what they need to bump up and down on a hero-specific level. But they've come from afar. And tanks have, suffered. At least just as long.
Definitely. I mean, like there were a time where like we had such short tank queues because everyone wanted to play support because it was like exciting and new and like it felt more viable. and you could it was kind of like feeling not great to play tank. So it kind of feels like they're trying to get the people excited again to play that role. And I think a lot of like hardcore players who like just stuck with being a tank main like through all this time were going to be really appreciative.
Oh, me too. I mean, I used to call myself a tank main before anything else. But I've been playing a lot more support lately and actually been venturing a little bit into DPS too. But I want to go back to my tanking because I enjoy it so much. If I can play with a full group of people that I know kind of will stick together and work together, it is such a glorious role to play. Like LP said at the start, it is such a beautiful role to play. But over time, and especially in the circumstances that I have to play pretty often, which is, I'm like 50% focused on the game and 50% focused on my chat when I'm streaming. It doesn't always lends itself to playing a tank and might get frustrating. And I really hope we get back to that spot where I can make it work because I miss playing all these heroes.
I want to say, like, as a tank, actually, you know what? This Overwatch universal feeling of kind of going back to Mercy. If you have her on your team, there's this sigh like of relief that you have a Mercy on your team.
Yeah.
If you're playing against the Mercy and you kill the Mercy, there is this another sigh of relief that we killed the Mercy. Let's go, keep pushing. So I want to say that Mercy is that hero. I've never felt any other way about a hero that like when I have her on my team, I'm like, yes, we got a Mercy, feeling good. And then when I kill the Mercy on the enemy team, I'm like, hell yeah, we killed the Mercy. Let's fucking go.
Can do this.
Yeah, I wonder if new players also have that feeling, because I think the roster right now, like when it comes to pure heal, because that is the reason why you feel comfortable with a Mercy on your team, because you know they will get shit done. Like if you look at the heal stats, anybody that is if there's a Mercy player, this is like old school thinking. It doesn't match up at all. It doesn't make any sense. But if you see another support player that is lagging behind, or a Mercy that is lagging behind another support player really hard, you're starting to look at your Mercy player going, what are you doing actually? Like, how is this possible? Because we really feel like the Mercies are those, like LP says, like the lifesavers, the ones that will make sure that everybody stays up and everybody stays alive. And but I do think there's a few other heroes that do that now. Like I think that roster has grown.
That just like drives back to perception again, because like we all know the feeling of the old Mercy, and I mean I personally like sadly haven't experienced it, but like the people who experienced like Mazrez back then as her old, she was kind of like the hero that could like make or break a game.
It's kind of insane if you think about that. That was insane.
Mazrez as her old back then, instead of what we have right now. But I mean, yeah. I mean, we're retired tank mains, like both of us.
Yeah.
We used to be like tank mains and kind of switched to support. But I don't know. It's like I'm excited to gonna play a bit more tank in the next season when the buffs come out, to see how it feels, to see how it goes. But it's kind of like all this perception is like, it always goes back to perception. It's so interesting, like with the Mercy thing, with anything else, because I feel myself like I relate so much to what LP said. Just like, oh my god, we have a Mercy, we're gonna be fine. Or when I play Mercy, I'm like, oh my god, I'm okay. Like still, like every time people thank me so much for like rezzing, and we're like, oh my god, I got res, let's go. Like don't see that when like a Baptiste throws a lamp at you. It's like normal. Baptiste throws a lamp, okay, you're alive, it's fine. But when you get that res, it just has a like kind of dopamine hit. Like, I can do this again, let's go. It's like so
I'm the chosen
uniquely,
one. She chose me, she rezzed me.
Exactly, that's so uniquely Mercy. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And it is perception, but I mean, I think that is maybe the beauty of Overwatch, that the personal experience that you have with these heroes and the personal expectations that you put on these heroes is also part of the whole experience on Turtle. But we'll see. I mean, the patch is dropping on May 14th. That is like in a week and a few days. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, at that point we'll discuss it and see how it kind of pans out. I think we all need to give it a try. I'm not too worried. I'm actually quite optimistic that this is going to turn out fine, but we'll see. Now, as we round things up, let me also announce I don't think we've talked about this before. So in case you missed it last week, we had a guest on where Hannah and Frozen talked to the voice actor for Zaya. Next week, we have the next guest coming up. And that will be Valeria Rodriguez, the voice actor for Venture, will be joining us next week. So make sure to tune in. That is going to be interesting. And at that point, we can talk a little about Venture. I actually watched their stream yesterday for like 15. They were playing with Boger and a few other people. It's kind of funny to watch the stream. It's it was a vibe. It was really a vibe. Curious. I'm looking forward to talk about that.
What I've seen of Valeria, like their personality matches Venture so well. It's crazy what a great fit this is, and like it's crazy.
Yeah, they ended the stream with flexing for the camera, just to kind of, that's a way to end your stream. Just
I mean, that's perfect way to end your stream. I don't know
exactly.
what you mean.
Yeah, I see Venture doing there's definitely a match between the two. Definitely. So but other than that was it for today.